Hey everyone, welcome back to the Shatterproof Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Reeb, and today we have a truly inspiring guest with us, Victoria Olivia. Victoria is the founder and CEO of Queen Up Now, a movement and community dedicated to empowering women to embrace their confidence and step into their greatness. She's also the #1 realtor in El Paso, Texas, a dynamic motivational speaker, and my friend. Victoria, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Scott. I am so honored to be here. I made it. I thought I wasn't going to make it this time, but thank God I did. And I'm super, super happy to be here. I have so much joy in my heart just to see you again also.
Yeah, it's good to see you. We met down in San Antonio at Daniel Gomez's Sticker Shock event where we were both speaking, and then we've talked a few times since then. Your journey is inspiring. When I get to hear your story, and so I want to make sure and share that with the audience. You're the most popular realtor in El Paso. You have the Queen Up Now movement going. You're a real estate investor, but that's not who you've always been.
Correct. And I love talking about that, Victoria. Because this Victoria, everybody knows. Everybody thinks, oh my gosh, how cool, look at her going. But I love going on a stage and telling my story, and I love saying it. I had a lady ask me the other day, she's like, you're not embarrassed to say that you're a high school dropout? And I'm like, no, I'm actually very proud. Not because, I dropped out of high school, but just because of the fact I've come so far from that time. High school dropout. Her biological mother and father abandoned me when I was 2 weeks old with my grandparents, and no college education whatsoever. I was like crazy mad before, just had so many issues. I mean, can you imagine, Scott, when you're a mother, that carried you? I was carried by my mother 9 months in her tummy. And then 2 weeks later, I never hear her voice again, ever. How is this 2-week-old thinking? What is she like? Where is this woman? Where are my siblings? Where is my father? And of course, I wasn't thinking mom, dad, but those voices that used to, put me to sleep and maybe even talk nice to me are gone. And now I'm with people that I had no idea who they were, regardless if they were my grandparents or not. Can you imagine that feeling? The person that is supposed to nurture you and love you and tell you how great you are and, kiss your little face all over is gone. That was pretty intense and hard.
And so with that background story, you're supposed to be in jail.
Yes. Pregnant with, 15 kids, crackhead in jail. Absolutely. I agree 100%.
So there are no excuses. If there are, you would have them. So how did you get where you are? How do you go from there, a 2-week-old baby abandoned by her parents, to the Victoria Olivia that I know?
The drive. I knew I wanted better. I knew it. My first language was Spanish. And I remember the first job that I had was at, second job. It was at a place called Computerland. I'm from El Paso, Texas. Born in Casper, Wyoming, raised in El Paso, Texas. But my first job, it was, second, Computerland. And I remember I went to interview. They were looking for a receptionist. And I went to school to be a clerk, typist, receptionist. That was my goal in life, to be someone's secretary. I just wanted to type and I just wanted to, get paid $3.35 an hour, which was minimum wage back in the day. And it was just, I was very, very fortunate to be around very successful people at a very young age. I was 17, 18 when I first got my job, and the people that I hung out with, they were my bosses, they were the salespeople there, but I saw them so different. Nobody in my family was like these people, And I started watching shows like Dynasty. I don't know if you remember that show.
Sure.
And I just saw different worlds out there. And I thought, well, what's the difference between them and me? We basically look the same other than I have darker skin, but I'm cute too. What's the difference? And there was no difference other than education, because back then, I'm going to be 54, December 23rd. I'm
Mm.
going to be 54. So I'm talking about 35 years ago, 35 plus years ago. Education was one of the most important things. If you did not have a college degree, you weren't even going to be a salesperson anywhere. You had to have a college education. When I asked about being a salesperson, they were like, no way. I used to study the dictionary to learn big words. But that's what I did for my lunch hour. I worked at Computerland, so I learned the computer business, and they didn't give me an opportunity, obviously. And I went to work for a radio station after that. And again, I was their receptionist, but it opened up my eyes to so many beautiful things. My boss lived up in the mountain. For Christmas, he took us to his house so we can have our Christmas party. And I was in awe. I was like, he drove a Mercedes. And I just thought he was so rich. And I thought, well, if they can do it, I can do this. All we have to do is work hard like them, right? And no one put any limits. I mean, my aunt that raised me and my grandparents tried, but they couldn't. I was just so high on life. I knew I was going to be somebody big in life. I'm still on that. I'm going to be someone big in life.
Yeah. So how did you transition from those jobs into the real estate industry?
So I was very, very blessed to have met a friend when I was 19, and she started a mortgage company. I actually met her when I was working at Computerland, and we became really good friends. I'm very grateful to her because she helped me so much. I learned the mortgage industry. So I went from not having a job. My youngest daughter, because I have two daughters, she was 2 months, I believe. I didn't have a job. I just went through a divorce. They were kicking me out of our house because I couldn't afford it. I didn't have a job. And she asked if I wanted to go work with her to do loans. And I was like, well, I've never done loans. And she says, I'm going to show you everything. Don't worry. So I was a little scared. But I went. And all she did, she trained me on taking a loan application. Back then, you didn't have to have a license. And I remember she told me, make 10 calls a day. Make sure you give out 10 business cards. Have a plan. Everything she told me to do, I did step by step because she was a successful businesswoman. So I wanted to learn from her. I did everything step by step. I started getting clients that wanted to do home equity loans, and then people that wanted to purchase homes. And I remember my third month, I think I made right around $4,500. 4,500. That was a lot of money for me. I used to get that in my income tax because I had, when you do your income tax and you have dependents, they give you a large amount. And I was like, I did this in like 2 months. So now I was on a mission to get 7,000. So I started just working hard, talking to people. I would read all kinds of books on how to negotiate, how to talk to people, how to behave, how to walk, like how to speak to people. And then I finally decided, after I actually had a career in the mortgage industry, that I wanted to be a mortgage broker. I went to do mortgages, then 2008 happened. I don't know, you remember that crash? I lost everything, my homes, my cars. I had to start from scratch. And that's when real estate came in. And I said, you know what? I'm going to give it another shot now in the real estate instead of the mortgage industry. And I applied everything that I learned from everybody. I would look at the girls. Scott, I was 19 when I went to my first restaurant. I did not know what to order. My friend ordered enchiladas and I ordered what she's having. And what do you want to drink? And she was having tea. Yes, I'll have what she's having. I was so embarrassed. I was such a sheltered child my grandparents did not speak English. My aunt didn't either. So I just felt like a little girl in a candy store just wanting to learn and just be around successful people. And then I just saw the successful people were not what my aunt would say, just because you have money, that doesn't make you a jerk. Or they were a lot of people were just so nice to me. And I thought, you know what? They're not that bad. Rich people are not that bad.
No, Zig Ziglar used to say that he's had problems with money and he's had problems without money. He'd rather have problems with money. So
Absolutely. Cry all the way too, in your Lamborghini or in the bus, because we're gonna cry at one point.
so you said that you in the 07, 08, that was about the third year of my law firm, and so I remember it very well. But you said you lost everything. So like
Yes.
you had built up some assets and they're all gone.
Yes. So I didn't build a lot of assets. This was Victoria, because remember, when your parents, or you don't go to school, they don't teach you about money. You're supposed to save money for the future or how to make more money. I was just getting a lot of money coming in, and there was Victoria going to Las Vegas once a month, buying the most expensive purses. I had 3 vehicles. I don't know who on earth would need 3 vehicles. And I was just living that lifestyle. I was paying for everybody's lunch and dinner and just making 40,000 a month back in the day. It was insane. And again, because I was not financially, I didn't get that education when it came to money, that I didn't invest a lot. My last $30,000, I bought a flip property, fixed it up. I was supposed to sell it, but I lived in it for 7 years. Then I sold it, and that's when I started investing. Because what happened in 2008, I said it will never happen again. I lost my marriage, you know. I was a breadwinner. He actually stayed home and watched my daughter. He was a great stepfather. And but I needed to do something different. I needed to have a plan. So when I got into real estate and I started making money, I started being smart with my money. I started reading books on money. I started like trying to figure out, well, what if I invest here? And what if I fixed my credit because I had filed bankruptcy. So I just started investing every time I got a big check. When you're in real estate, sometimes you'll make 5,000, sometimes you'll make 50,000. So when I did make that money, I started investing in apartments, in homes, Airbnbs. And it just, grew. It grew. And I'm just very grateful that I did that.
Now you're making that sound really easy, but I know it's not easy. So we were talking pre-show, and you were talking about the assets that you've accumulated and your plans over the next 3 years to accumulate some more to create the retirement income that you need. So you want to buy a 12 unit apartment complex, I think is what you told me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That sounds great. I'd love to buy a 12 unit apartment complex. So I'm sure the listeners would as well. How do you go about buying a 12 unit apartment complex?
So I'm going to tell you how I bought my 6-unit apartment complex. And I'm married. My husband and I decided, okay, by my husband and I decided, I decided, you know how that goes, that we were going to live off one income. Okay. And people ask us, you can live up in the mountain. There's $1 million homes. And our house is not super, super big. It's great. But I tell the women that I actually coach a lot of the women in my groups. I don't buy purses, I buy homes. How do you do that? Is you have to be very super focused, because people want to take vacations. And I'm not saying not to, but what's important is that the apartment complex that I wanted, I needed $60,000. Okay. I had it in my savings because I love to save money, but I was not going to use that money for it. It took me 2 months to accumulate $60,000 because I put some of these little sticky pads all over my office, in my restroom, everywhere. And I put 60,000. All I did was, my goal was to manifest $60,000 by selling homes. I wasn't gonna sit here and be like, oh, please come 60,000. No, no, no. I was going to manifest it by working. So I started just calling out clients. I have so many cash buyers. I have clients that want to buy homes cash. And I'm closing 6 deals this month, and I'm closing 5 tomorrow. And then I just started working on my mindset. I kid you not, Scott, within a week, 1 week, I had 3 cash buyers. I made over $38,000. It had never happened to me ever. So I was like, money comes to me easily, effortlessly, and frequently. That's my mantra for money. Money comes to me easily, effortlessly, and frequently. So I just kept on and kept on and kept on. And it happened within less than 2 months. I was short. I think I had like $56,000. And I used the rest of my savings. We got the apartments, and that's how I do it. I know it sounds, because I said this to so many people, and it sounds woo, like, oh my God, you're manifesting. And it's not just the manifesting, it's what you truly believe that you can do. If you believe it, it can happen. It's not going to happen by you sitting there. You have to work. How many real estate calls do you think I made to get those 3 cash sales? Over 300 calls. I didn't just sit there and, oh, I need cash buyers. Thank you, universe, God. No, I started making my calls, and I had my scripts, and I get in my office and just start calling, and people hang up and people are rude. I don't care. My goal is to close deals with cash buyers so I can have the money quicker for my apartments. And that's basically, when you said it's not that easy, I'm a big believer that it is pretty easy, but our
Simple,
mindset gets in the way.
but it takes work.
Yes. Well, I didn't even have good credit at that time. I
So
did an owner finance.
Okay. Hey there, it's Scott Reed, cutting in for a quick moment. If you're enjoying the podcast and finding value in our discussions, you're going to love the Access Plan. It's designed for entrepreneurs like you, offering unlimited legal advice without the worry of high hourly fees. With the Access Plan, you can get the legal support you need at a flat monthly rate so you can focus on growing your business with confidence. Head over to reblaw.com/access to learn more and join Access now and get busy shatterproofing your business. Now let's get back to our amazing guest. So if you're buying a 6-unit apartment, you have to come up with a down payment. And then on this one, you said you owner financed it.
They owner financed me, and 7.25 interest rate. I don't care about the rate. Most of the homes that I have, they're at 9.99, and everybody's like, oh my God, that's a lot. I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of equity I have in there. If I sold everything, we'd probably end up with like $1.2 million liquid, which is not going to happen because that's retirement. I want to retire by the time I'm 55. I'm going to be 54, 55. There you go.
Wow, I should be retired then. So you're wanting to retire on the cash flow from real estate, because some people, that if you follow people on social media like I do that are business people, you hear them saying that you can't, that's not possible anymore, that you can't generate income with cash flow properties anymore.
Yeah, maybe they live in California. I don't know. I know I do here.
There are markets where you can do it.
Yes, absolutely. And you have to do your homework and you have to look, but nothing is impossible if you set your mind to do it.
And part of, you have some advantage, I would think, because you are in real estate. So you know how to find properties, you know how to do some things that us ordinary citizens maybe don't know how to do. Is that something that someone would contact you if they're wanting to become an investor in El Paso, for instance? Could they reach out to you as a realtor, and then that's something you could help them do?
Absolutely. Yes, definitely. I would love to do that. And it's not easier. A lot of the times, good deals do land on our laps. but we got to make the calls. It's sales is sales, you know? And I mean, even you're an attorney, but you still have to make your calls. If you want more business, you have to go out there and network and make your phone calls. When I go to a restaurant, when I go to Walmart, wherever I'm at, I always make sure that at least 10 people have my business card. When I walk into a room anywhere here in El Paso and anybody knows, they know that knows me, they know I do real estate. I'm a real estate agent. I'm not a secret agent. Everybody needs to know what I do. So when Victoria walks in, they're like, oh, she's the one that does, Victoria, the one that does real estate, right? Yes, that's her. Facebook and Instagram, it's all about my real estate.
And that brings me to another interesting thing I wanted to talk to you about that we talked about in San Antonio, because you're an introvert.
Yes, we did talk about, you remember.
So if you can tell, you probably, when you're watching, would think that she's an introvert. And if you meet her, you sure wouldn't think she's an introvert. She's the most extroverted introvert I know. But
yes,
she's doing what it takes to accomplish her goals, which means build businesses. And right now, the tool she's using to generate the cash is real estate. So to do that, you have to put yourself out there. You have to make the phone calls. You have to introduce yourself at networking things. And you may not be there long, but you are there long enough to accomplish what you set out to do.
I'm there long enough to meet 10 people and I'm out. And I am like, people think that I'm just this party going, that I love hanging out. And I really truly don't. I'm a homebody. I love to be home. I make myself go to events, and I mean make myself, because there's times, even being on a podcast, I'm like, okay, it's not because I don't want to. I feel like energetically it just takes a lot from me, because this is what I do all day. I'm talking to people all day, and I'm on the computer and making sure this person, if I was at my husband's body shop right now, and the postman walked in. I had not seen him there, so before he leaves, he knows I'm a real estate agent. And that's my script. Who do you know looking to buy a home? And they're like, well, I don't know anybody getting a divorce, anybody that wants to sell their house. Oh, yeah, my cousin. Can I get their name and number? Well, okay, give me yours, and then I'll call you later and ask them if it's okay. Is that okay? And they're like, yeah, and I get it, you know?
So how do you start
You
that?
got to
That's
remember.
a whole other topic. So how do you start that conversation to let them know that you're a realtor?
Exactly that way. Hi, that's it. I just say hi. Hi. Like okay, so the guy walks in. Obviously, he drops everything, the mail. He's leaving. And then I'm like, I haven't seen you here. And he's like, oh no, this is like my third time here. I haven't seen you either. No, it's because it's my husband's body shop. And then I start talking. Are you from El Paso? Oh, well, actually, yes, but I live in Northeast, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, my name is Victoria and I do real estate. So if you know anyone looking to buy a home or sell their house, keep me in mind. I give them my card. And then I also ask, is it okay if I get your full name and number and maybe email address? I can keep in touch with you. A lot of people say no. You know, I've had people say, no, it's okay. No worries. I give them my card if you're interested. I've had people just throw the card back. I said, no, I'm sorry. No problem. You can't take it personally. You really can't. But I mean, everywhere you go, Scott. I was at Target yesterday. The lady's there paying, and her daughter's crying in her arms. And I'm like, she's so cute. I have 5 grandkids. I can't wait to have a granddaughter. She's like, they're a handful. Girls are a handful. I said, yeah, they are. So then again, right before she leaves, I'm like, well, my name is Victoria. I do real estate. Just in case, you know, I know maybe you're not interested. Just in case you know anyone looking to buy a home or sell their house. You live in a home. You sell a house. A home is where your heart is, where the family is. And a house, you just want to get out of it. So verbiage has a lot to do with it too.
That's great. That's really good. Okay, let's talk about Queen Up now.
That is dear to my heart. I started this organization called Queen Up Now. And everyone asked me, well, what is Queen Up? There is a famous logo out there. Just do it. You know, everybody says, just do it. Just do it. And people always ask, well, what do I do? Just do it. I know, but what? What do I do to get to where you're at? So I started telling the girls, because most of the people that I talk to, like coaching or anything like that, they're women. And I tell them, instead of saying just do it, I say queen up now. And they're like, well, what do you mean? And this is what I tell them. So I have a lady that called me last week, and she says that she's going through a divorce and she really doesn't want to get a divorce. And she loves her husband, and she truly believes that her husband loves her too. I said, okay. I said, well, tell me what you want from this. And she says, I want my husband back. I don't want to lose my marriage, and I want to make sure that my kids grow up with their mother and father. And I said, okay. So I told her, let me ask you a question. How does a woman that has a good relationship behave with her husband? Like, how does she behave? You're an actress to your movie right now, okay? You're watching a Lifetime movie, and just the way they put it on TV, oh my God, he's so nice, she's so nice. How does that wife treat that husband? And then she started telling me, because at first she's like, well, I don't know. Okay, like, how would you like for someone to treat you? Well, I don't know. I want hugs, and when maybe a home cooked meal, and taking care of the children. I say, okay, how does a great wife, in your opinion, because great wives, everybody has a different opinion what a great wife is. How does she behave? So she started telling me, well, I would wake up a little earlier. I would make sure my husband had breakfast, and then when he came home, I'd make sure that kids were taken care of. When he came home, I would make sure that I looked good, that I had dinner ready. I would surprise him, and like all these things started flowing. I said, okay, so that's what you're going to do. Well, that's hard. Why not? It's hard. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Do you want your marriage to work or not? And that's the way I say it. You said you wanted your marriage to work, and you said, okay, do you want me to tell you? Because I always ask people, do you want me to tell you what you want to hear or what you need to hear? Yeah, what I need to hear. Okay. So this is what you're going to do with your husband. But what if he gets mad and he calls me? No, it doesn't matter. You're going to keep on that path because you're trying to win him back, right? Oh, yes. Do you love him? You're in love with him? Yes. When you see him, do you get butterflies? Yes. Okay. So we're going to work on this. So it's like you're portraying the main character in a movie. The movie is the woman is about to get divorced. Her husband doesn't want to be with her no more. What does that woman need to do? And it goes the same with real estate. One of my team leaders, well, I want to be a better realtor. I just don't know how. Okay. How does a good realtor act? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do I mean? What does a good realtor do in the mornings? Well, they wake up. Wake up at what time? Well, yeah, they wake up early. Okay. How many calls does a good realtor make? 10? No, ma'am. A good realtor that makes great money. 20? 50 calls a day. Oh, okay. How does a realtor dress? How does a realtor talk? How does Oh, okay. So if you want to be the best realtor, that's what you need to do. Now you're playing that movie. You're the actress of your movie. Your movie is, I'm going to be the best realtor. I'm going to be the best wife. I'm going to be the best mom, whatever it is. And then you take on that role and watch your life change.
No, I love
Just
that.
watch it change.
Where'd you learn that, Victoria?
I kid you not, I think I made it up like 8 years ago. It just was like, well, these movies, right? Because what do they tell us? Women, we are very, we want the men to treat us like, oh, I'm a queen. I want them to treat me like a princess. And I want them to do all this. Why? Because we continuously watch Lifetime movies, that's not the real world, but we're watching it. So I was thinking, if you want your own movie, well, you play the actress. Because if you do that, then let's say that they treat you 10% better. You're already winning. Does that make sense? 10% better is better than zero. You're already winning at that.
The queen up formula. I love it. And so you help people one-on-one, But you also do a big annual event.
Yes. Yes, I have.
Husband, yeah.
These events, I didn't even know what they were going to be called. I do dream boards. Every year I have a dream board, and I'm old school. I get the big yellow boards and everything I want there. Back in 2008 or 9, I believe, I had put a women's seminar, and then it was a sit down dinner, and that had been on my dream board forever. You know, I have all my dream boards. I've kept them all. I tape them up, make sure they don't get all messed up because I show them to the girls. And I wanted that. I wanted to have that community because Victoria didn't have community. I didn't have anyone to run to when I needed advice. I didn't know who to talk to. My aunt didn't, we didn't have a good relationship. My grandmother didn't know better. So I needed that community. So I wanted to have that type of community for these women. So what I did is my oldest daughter was going to get married. We had picked a hall. It was a very small hall because it was going to be an intimate wedding. It ended up she didn't get married. We had a $500 credit. And I called the lady at the hall and I said, we have credit and she's not getting married. So is it okay if I just have like a women's event? And she's like, sure. From there, that was right after COVID. Scott, I had over 200 women show up. There was a line of women waiting for me to speak. I talk about it now and I get all like teary eyed because I'm like, they're here to see me, to talk to them, to inspire them. There's some people that don't like when they call them motivational speakers. I motivate. That's what I love doing because I needed that growing up. I needed someone to motivate me, to grab me by the hand and say, you can do this. You don't need to be a perfect size. You don't have to have the light skin. You don't have to have the green eyes. You don't have to be the smartest in the room. Because actually, if you're the smartest in the room, you probably need to get another room. Period. Yeah. So I saw these women, the need, and I just couldn't believe like the love, everything I got from them it was just so beautiful. It was just the way it was meant to be. Then we had it the second year. Our third year just passed. We had it in October. And it's beautiful. It's a lot of women coming and hanging out and community, and which is what I love. So this is something I needed when I was growing up. And this is why I truly believe that it works out for me because I don't do it for the money. Everybody thinks that I make a lot of money doing these events. I actually end up in the red zone a lot of the times, but it's not because of that. It's just the fact that when I get these messages from countless women saying, Victoria, my mom went to your event last year and she's a different person. Because in our culture, and I don't think it's just a Mexican thing, I think it's just a culture all around, we don't like to talk about the real deal. Molestations. We don't like to talk about rape. We don't like to talk about school. We don't like top politics. All the things that we hide in our family, like the secrets. I don't like that. I want for us to be, upfront and sincere. And if you have an issue with anyone, including your parents, why not talk about it and let it go? Because if you don't, it's going to stay in there and it's going to start, till it's going to blow up. Why get to that point? Why not go straight up to someone and say, hey, I didn't appreciate the way you did that. Was there something I did that offended you? But let's talk about it. Be adults about it. And ever since I started doing that in my life, it's changed,
I love that. Let's go to the rapid fire questions. What's one book that has inspired you in your journey?
The 4 Agreements, for sure. The 4 Agreements has been big for me, especially the gossiping part. In my family, that's all they did. The women gossiped about all the women and everybody gossiped. And to me, that's very important not to do that. Now, I'm not saying I haven't or I don't because I'm human, But now I catch myself and I got to stop myself because gossip just lowers your vibration. It's just not good for anybody.
What's a daily habit that helps you stay motivated?
Oh, I have to watch YouTube videos on a daily. I wake up watching motivational videos and I go to sleep with the vibration music or just affirmations. I cannot not do it because I feel it during the day.
What's the best advice you've received about leadership?
The best advice about leadership, just be transparent. Transparency is everything. Everything. When you're honest and transparent with the person, it helps in anything, business. And I'm going to give you a perfect example, real estate. I don't know everything about real estate. I had a doctor friend that wanted to buy a home, and I try to wing it and act like I knew what I was talking about. People know when you're lying, but I didn't want to look like an idiot. I was like, sure. And I started making things up. And then I finally was like, okay, I gotta be honest with you. I don't know, but let me get that answer for you. He was like, yes, of course. He was shocked that I even told him, I'm sorry, I really don't know. I just didn't want to look like an idiot in front of you. And he's like, okay. And he really transparency, he actually was like, thank you. That was honest. Thank you. So to me, transparency is key to any type of, business or personal.
That's awesome. What's the most important lesson you've learned in business?
Oh, don't throw your money away. I learned that in 2008. We love buying things for our friends because we want our family and friends to love on us. And if you're the person buying them the dinners and the drinks, and if they're going to love you. And once you don't have it, they're not going to call you. So I learned that hard lesson. No. Another one, and this is my favorite. I don't lend people money. I give them the money if it's possible. When someone's like, hey, can I borrow $500? Now, I have to want to do it. I don't get you're not going to guilt me to lend you $500. But if I want to, I will do it. And I say, it's not a loan. I'm giving it to you. I don't expect it. And I really don't expect it back. Yep. There's no point.
That's a great lesson. Yeah. Well, Victoria, this has been a lot of fun to go back through your story, and you are inspiring, and I think that the audience will agree with me. I want to leave you with a blessing from Proverbs 31:25, that she is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh as the days come. May you continue to lead with strength, inspire with dignity, and create a legacy of empowerment for women everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've been inspired by this conversation like I have. If so, don't forget to like and subscribe, share this episode. And this is it's been a great time with Victoria. Until next week, stay shatterproof. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be taken as professional advice. While I'm your host, Scott Reed, I'm a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer, and this podcast does not establish an attorney-client relationship. The views expressed by my guests are their own and not mine, and they may not even reflect the opinion of the Shatterproof Entrepreneur podcast. So we strive to provide valuable and accurate content, but we make no representations as to the accuracy, completeness, or suitability of any information to your particular situation, and won't be liable for any errors or omissions for the application of them. Always consult a professional or in the respective area that we've discussed before making any personal or business decisions.